Here we are again. Another holiday fast approaching. If you're thinking about going big, nothing impresses more than a perfectly cooked prime rib. Well, except for a well-dressed prime rib. So, today we're plating up prime rib with homemade jus and horseradish sauce, fit for any occasion. Here is a magnificent 14-pound standing rib roast, prime grade. Can you see that marbling in the rib cap? And even in the main muscle here. That is beautiful. This is a first cut prime, ribs 9 through 12. Pardon the interruption, but as for the meat, honestly, get whatever you can afford. Prime, choice, first cut, second cut, standing or sitting, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to reverse sear a perfect prime rib that will please everybody at your table, except for those heathens who like their prime rib well done. And obviously, it would just be callous and frankly a bit sadistic to invite vegetarians or vegans to a prime rib dinner, so do the responsible thing and make sure to cancel their invites as well. Now, back to your program. And the first thing I'm going to do, and maybe sacrilege to some, but I like to remove the bones. I'm actually going to use these to make a stock. Some people are going to take great offense to that. Let the comments fly below. The butcher asked me, or my local butcher asked me, if I wanted these removed and tied back on. But for demonstration purpose, I thought it'd be helpful to see how to remove those. Let me clean my hands and we'll get cutting. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some paper towels and I'm just going to put them down on my cutting board. This will help to keep it from moving around a little bit. Now, glide your knife at an angle along the bones, trying to make long, smooth, and even cuts. Just take your time. When you get deep enough, use your other hand to start spreading the meat away from the bone. It'll make cutting a lot easier. And congratulations! You've done what your butcher would do for free. But honestly, it wasn't that hard, was it? Aside from having to do this for my homemade stock later, I thought it might be fun to weigh our bones with my digital scale. These clock in at nearly 3 pounds. That's 20% of my total standing rib roast's weight, and more importantly, 20% of the price. Now, score the fat cat by making shallow parallel cuts. You don't want to cut into the meat. Give it a turn, and score the other way, creating a crosshatch pattern. This will just help the fat render a bit more during roasting. Now we can truss our roast with butcher's twine. My spool of twine is on my left, by the way. Create your first loop around the first quarter of your roast. Then just cross the cut end of the twine 2 or 3 times around the other and pull snugly. Once snug, tie a double knot to hold it. Place your twine down the center of your roast. Make sure you have plenty of loose twine at the ready. Position your right hand to the left of the twine. While holding it down, let the twine fall over your left hand. Let your right hand take over holding down the twine. And now you have a loop. You can run under your roast, adjust, and tighten. Let me show you that again. Right hand on the left of the twine. Let the twine fall over your right hand. Use your left hand to hold the tied end of the twine, thus creating a loop. Once you've made your last loop, measure out enough twine for 1 1/2 the length of your roast. then cut. Flip your roast over and away from you. Adjust the loops as necessary. Run the remaining twine under and over each loop and pull till snug. Flip over again, and you should be where you started. Tie a double knot, cut the excess, and you're done. Okay, now we need to salt and pepper this thing. Now always sprinkle a bit high, 6 to 12 inches above. I like to follow up with some pepper. Now we're gonna flip this over and do the other side. You're gonna wanna do this with each and every side, obviously. And you can just pat, 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 pat. Now, we're just gonna put this in the refrigerator for 2 days, uncovered, and that will just allow the cool air to dry out the surface, which will help with caramelization and also help to concentrate the flavors just a little bit more. I'll see you in a couple days. Well, not technically, it's YouTube. Good night, buddy. All right, today is the big day. I've just taken our prime rib out of the refrigerator after its 2-day hibernation. And you can see it's looking a little different. The reds are a much deeper red, meaning that it's lost quite a bit of moisture. So that's gonna help with browning. Now, I wouldn't stick this into the oven right away. It's still very cold from being in the fridge for 2 days. Give it at least 2 to 3 hours just to take the chill off. You're never gonna get this up to room temperature, not in any reasonable amount of time that I think you wanna leave your roast out. While your prime rib is warming up, why don't you also warm up your oven to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. So now that your oven's warmed up and you're ready to cook, you're gonna want one of these. This is a digital probe thermometer and your best friend for the reverse sear method. Regardless of whether you're cooking a choice or prime grade roast, why gamble on estimated cooking times you found on the internet? With this device, you simply insert the probe into the meat and leave it there as it cooks. Just walk away. You can also set the desired temperature for this thing to start screaming for your attention. In our case, I'm setting my desired temperature to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. After an hour's rest, I expect my rib roast to continue to carry over cooking into the medium rare zone with a nice rosy pink from edge to edge and all sorts of tender. Yes, you could use a regular thermometer, but doing so means opening and closing the oven door maybe every 15 to 30 minutes to ensure you don't overshoot your desired temperature, which will result in a lot of heat loss and increased cooking time. If you have a wired probe thermometer, don't forget to plug it in. And you can see that our rib roast is at 39 degrees, so we've got some cooking to do. Now let's put the roast in the oven and work on those other 2 things we talked about earlier. Now, in my opinion, no prime rib is complete without a jus. And a jus is nothing more than the French term for juices. Au jus means with juices. And yes, I want my prime rib with juices. And it's really easy to make. All you need to do is take some of your beef drippings from your roast, add some beef broth, some Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire sauce, or you could add red wine, or frankly, you can add both if you like. It's that simple. Let me show you how to make it. Use whatever high quality beef stock or broth you can get your hands on. I'm using a rich homemade stock here, which I'll show you how to make at the end of this video, if you're interested. Now, if you made your own homemade stock and you just pulled it out of the fridge, first thing you're going to want to do is remove all the fat. that's solidified on the top. Oh, look at that. That's good enough for me. Now, if you chose to follow me on that little tangent and make your own homemade beef stock or rich brown stock, let me show you one of the benefits. Don't tell me that's not hypnotic. Imagine how good that's going to taste. Now, again, for this recipe, you need 2 cups. Put that in there, and I'm just going to scoop out some additional to make up the difference. And if you're using store-bought, you'll just measure out 2 cups as well. You just won't get dancing jello. To make our jus, we'll need a saucepan. Turn it on to low. Because we're still cooking our rib roast, and it is a dry brined rib roast, we probably won't have a lot of meat drippings. I'm just going to go ahead and add my 2 cups of beef broth. Now, if you wanted to add some red wine, now would be the time. But I'm just going to stick with the classic here and use a tablespoon. Make sure you shake it up. The jus has warmed up. Now, do the chefy thing and give it a taste. That is really rich. You can really pick up the Worcestershire sauce, but it does need a little salt. Now that's pretty spot on. Jus is done. So another classic accompaniment for your prime rib is going to be horseradish sauce. And let me show you how easy it is to make. So you're going to need some sour cream. All the measurements will be down in the description below. You'll need some mayo, your prepared horseradish. That's a mouthful for me. Horseradish. I don't know why. I'm having a lot of trouble with that word today. Dijon, some lemon juice. Add the chives. Mix, and then store in the refrigerator for at least half an hour. Prime rib is done. We've hit our target temperature of 115 degrees. Now we just need to foil this and let it rest, at least for an hour. Now that our rib roast has rested for about an hour, you're going to want to crank up your oven to as hot as it'll go. If you have convection, by all means use it. There we go. We're going to want to cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes under that blazing heat, just to brown the outside and give us that color that we're all looking for. Time's up. Oh. Not too shabby. Okay, now let's go ahead and remove all the twine. Let's release the beast. I gotta try this little crispy bit. You have to forgive me. Oh my God, that was delicious. Let's carve in and see what we have. Now remember, the ends are always gonna be more done than the center. So for those of you or those members of your family who enjoy more well done, these are the parts they're gonna want. There you go. Perfect medium rare. A little bit of grain on the spinalis dorsi, but nothing egregious. This is a perfect cook. Now I have to hurry because I have a very hungry family and it's late. But let me plate up one serving of what I think is the perfect prime rib with all the accompaniments. Now, I can't really tuck in as much as I want to, because again, family comes first. And that's what the holidays is all about. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you like what you've seen. And if you have, I'd appreciate a like. Until next time, I hope you have a very, very happy holidays. Now, if you're an overachiever like me, and you spend a lot of money on a prime grade standing rib roast, you're gonna wanna make your own beef broth. Now let me show you how to do that. Now you may recall, I removed the ribs from the standing rib roast. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down these ribs, separating the meat from the bones as much as I possibly can. There you go. So now we can just break this down into some small pieces. Why did we bother even weighing out our bones? Because it lets us know how much vegetables we want to add. Since we had 5 pounds, 5 times 16 ounces in a pound, is 80 ounces in total. You take 10% of that, that's 8 ounces, or 20%, and you get 16 ounces, which is 1 pound. And there we go. We're at 1 pound, 7/8. I'm fine with that. I don't count mushrooms. I think just adding them is gonna really boost up the flavor of the beef. So they're going in no matter what. These guys, they get a reprieve until the next stock. Chop them up. Now I can just brush these aside. Cut my onion. These 5 cloves. Try and get as much excess liquid out of here as I possibly can. A good glug of oil. This is avocado oil. Get that oil all over them, which will help them brown. Put the bones into a 225-degree preheated oven for 45 minutes. Now wrap a couple sprigs of thyme, parsley, and bay leaves in leek leaves, and then wrap with butcher's twine. Pat your meat dry, put a stock pot over medium heat, add a tablespoon of oil, and then start browning your meat. Look for good caramelization. Give it about 2 to 3 minutes per side. Once done, remove from the pot and transfer to a tray. Now add your vegetables, let them cook for a minute, add a tablespoon of tomato paste, cook for another minute, and then remove. Remove your browned bones to the tray with your meat, empty out all the fat from the tray, and deglaze with wine. I'm just gonna use some red wine in here and try and deglaze some of this. Add the juices along with the browned bones and beef back to the stock pot. Cover with low sodium beef broth and or water. Bring to a boil and remove the scum that rises with a ladle or a sieve. Once the stock pot comes to a boil, reduce your heat to a low simmer and cook anywhere between 6 and 12 hours. You want to add your vegetables at least an hour before you're done cooking your stock, and the bouquet garni at least half an hour before you finish cooking. Our rich brown stock is complete. All we have to do is remove the solids, strain it, and then cool it.